Mike Beer, the DRF race of the day for Wednesday, December the 29th, race number 9. We close out the card at Tampa Bay Downs with a very competitive race on the turf. Let's throw up the field. $16,000 claimer going a mile and a 16th, an overflow field, and a pretty competitive field with one of the expected favorites hung way out on the outside.
This is a really, really good race, especially for this level of horse stat. I mean, I think a lot of different horses could win here. You're not. I don't think you're going to see, a super short priced favorite in this race. But even regardless of that, I think you got to try to look for somebody who's going to fall through the cracks here, because somebody's going to, and they're going to be good enough to win.
Let's throw up the Timeform US pace projector. Timeform US believes that the 8, just in time for Wine, is going to be able to get to the lead. And I won't be surprised if he does, stretching back out in distance. But I do feel he's got to face some more pace pressure in here, Mike, especially from the 2. Borgo by the Sea is also fast and breaking near the inside. I guess that horse has got to go.
Yeah, I didn't think this pace was going to be slow either. That being said, I won't be surprised when Just in Time for Wine gets to the front here, because that's his running style, and he is pretty fast early. I'm sure they want him on the lead, Dan. Dropping back down in class for this race doesn't hurt either. There's a lot to like about this horse, but I don't think he's going to be, walking the dog up front.
A horse that could work out a really sweet trip from the rail is the number 1, Sandy Lane Kitten. This horse might be able to just tuck into the pocket, get dragged around there by the pace setter, get to the outside and finish well. He's been freshened since his most recent start. His first off the Darian Rodriguez claim. He ran okay that day at Monmouth. I like that they gave him a little bit of a break leading up to this.
I like that too. Second off the claim now, a little bit of a freshening, and more than anything else, I mean, he's got just a bunch of races on his card that are going to give him a real chance in this race, Dan. And it just feel like there's a perfect trip coming from the rail for this horse? He's got a great running style, and they could be going fast in front of him.
Borgo by the Sea won twice at Tampa Bay Downs last year, and he's another horse last seen at Monmouth, freshened a bit for this start, and I won't be surprised if he likes getting back to Tampa. He wasn't able to get to his normal position close to the pace last time out. I'm not expecting that to be a problem here. I'm expecting him to be 1-2 going into the first turn.
Yeah, me too. Maybe I'm just wrong about this horse, Dan. I'd like to hear your opinion on this. I know he's got speed. He's going to be forward in here. I thought he was in really tough against a field like this one. He's 5-1 on the morning line in a race that might be run at a pretty fast pace early. I don't get this horse at all.
I think that price is a little bit low. You go back to his figures 2 and 3 starts back. They're somewhat competitive with these horses, buyers in the mid-70s. But you're right, he has to prove his mettle against these tougher horses, because his big races have come Penn National, but he was able to win at Tampa Bay Downs for the 16 last year. He seems like a pretty decent fit from a class standpoint. The pace might work against him, in my opinion. Big Red Rocks is up next. This horse comes from the Meadowlands, where he got wired last time out. I thought that was a pretty slow-paced race. He did finish ahead of a horse, or just behind a horse, that came back to win at the Fairgrounds with an 76 buyer speed figure. He's a horse, though, needs a little bit of pace and race luck.
One of the harder horses to make a case for in this race, Dan, as he steps back up in class. I just don't see the race that he's run recently that makes me feel like he's a major player in this race. Just in Time for Wine, who's also back in here, has really had his number so far this year.
For his bird's eye view, he's 9 years old. He's had a lot of success at Tampa Bay Downs in the past, a multiple winner over the surface. I wonder where he is from a form standpoint, though, Mike. Another horse that ran at the Meadowlands last time out. I really question the quality of competition there, and he just didn't fire in that conditioned cellar.
Just don't like his recent form. It just feels like he's lost maybe 2 steps now as a 9-year-old, Dan. He's got a ton of back class. His best race, if he could somehow summon it up here, and he hasn't run it in a while, but if he could easily beat this field. I mean, his recent form, though, it's not very good, and his speed is all gone. He was never, going back to when he was really good, he was never a one-run closer. It seems like that's what he is now.
Ultimate Irony is up next, the number 5. This horse is only had a few starts of this form cycle. Maybe he's racing himself back into shape, and his last race is just another throwout and off-turf race. Two-back didn't make much headway again in the condition claimer at the Meadowlands, but at least that race has produced a couple of next-out winners, one with a 78 buyer.
I mean, I guess if you're looking for a closer in this race, and it feels like this race could really set up for him, I mean, this horse has the right running style. I feel like he's going to need a trip. And then maybe just sort of have some other horses not get as lucky as he does if he's going to come out on top here. But I could use this horse somewhere.
Artemis Bridge, the number 6, looks like a closer that might get a very good setup. Kevin Gomez, who rode in excellent form at Delaware over the summer, is doing quite well thus far at Tampa Bay. Here's Artemis Bridge's last race at Laurel Park, and he kind of raced, the old Meadowlands Death Sea trip, the 3-hole. He's going to eventually get out here, but by the time he does, these two horses, who basically have been 1-2 all the way around, they're going to hold him off. He is the kind of horse that's in good form, and he fits with these.
Yeah, and he has the right running style for this race. This is a good spot for him. I'll allow you to take over from here, Dan. This is your circuit. I'm sure you looked at this race closely. Did not care for the ride this horse got last time and thought he was best.
Yeah, he was able to save ground, but was kind of just stuck in behind horses all the way. One of the also-rans came back to win with a 78 buyer. So I think there are a lot of things to like, especially at 6-1 morning line on Artemis Bridge. Flying Knightley's been in exceptional form. This horse has won 4 consecutive races. They all came at Hawthorne, and like the Meadowlands racing, I question a little bit what we get from Hawthorne. Flying Knightley, on the other hand, is in very good form. He comes out of this open $20,000 claimer back in the summer. And Mike, he was game. He never quit. I still don't know how he got his nose down in front.
I don't either. Listen, I can't say that I love him on video. Going back and looking at his last 3 or 4 starts, he's won all of them though. So that's a good sign for him. The figures say he's a contender here. His running style says that he's a contender. I think he can get a really good trip in this race. And I know the last 4 wins are all at Hawthorne, but this horse runs everywhere. He's won a couple of races here at Tampa in the past, so he doesn't take his track with him. 10 for 31 on turf, 20 times in the money in those turf races. I think he's going to be right there at the end.
He is a hard hitter to be sure, and he has run very well fresh. So even though we haven't seen him since late summer, I think this horse is here to play. The 8 is Just in Time for Wine, your expected pace setter according to Timeform US. And last time out, what chance did he really have? They cut him all the way back to 5/8 of a mile. He got involved in a speed duel. He got tired. He is much better with his speed, at least, plays much better in these 2-turn races.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think cutting back to 5 furlongs did him any favors last time. He actually still ran okay in that race. Stretching back out helps him. Dropping back down in class really helps him. If he can somehow clear off to the lead here as this field enters the first turn, that really helps him. This horse is kind of amazing, Dan. I remember him when he was in New York to start his career. I don't know how many starts it took him to break his maiden, but it was a lot. It took him a couple of years. The fact that he now has 8 wins, I think that tells you all you need to know about what kind of form this horse has been in.
This guy has won over course and distance at this class level at Tampa Bay in the past. Note he was listed as a Gulfstream Park vet scratch on November the 10th. Eric the Salesman is up next. This horse is the number 9. Again, throw out the last race at Belterra. They cut him all the way back. He got washed off of the turf. He got wired 2 starts back in a very slow-paced race at Belterra. Maybe the scenario worked against him. The 3rd place horse came back to place with a 71 buyer, but from a class standpoint, I'm a little concerned.
Yeah, me too. He's just one of the harder horses in this field to make a case for. That's why he's 30-1 on the line.
Performing Arts, though, I think has a little bit of an outside chance here at a big price. He's 15-1 on the morning line for a high percentage trainer in Carlos David. And to me, just looks dirtied up. They've ran him twice this year, both over the synthetic surface at Gulfstream. I don't think he's a synthetic horse, and he kept some good company, or at least some good races on turf last year and the year before.
Yeah, agreed. I'm just going to assume that, considering how long he was away from the races, and that's after that race at Gulfstream last December for this tag, where he ran really well that day. He was only 2nd best, but he did a lot of the hard work there and got run over late by a horse who sat it out early. I'm going to assume that they were prepping him in those first 2 starts on the all-weather. This horse, he's a turf horse. They tried him on the all-weather once last year, too. He was terrible in that race. So I don't care about those last 2 races. This is the right surface for him. This is the right level for him. He can get the right trip in this race, and he's a great price on the morning line.
Another horse that's a big price that isn't totally out of this is the 11, Chess's Dream. This horse has severe back class. He won a graded stakes race back at Gulfstream in early 2021. He never really panned out, but he ran on synthetic last time out at Gulfstream. It was a race that produced 5 next out winners, and some of his turf races, obviously, in the past have shown some sort of potential. Another that'll get a setup at a price. He needs a trip.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have really anything to add to that. And then when you throw in the fact that he's 30-1 on the morning line, it just makes him that much more interesting there. And I get it. He doesn't win very often. That's a little bit problematic, but he fits right in here, I think.
The 12 Oceans map has the figure edge, and he's also taking a steep drop in class. I'm not even interested in the last race. He had no chance in that Japan Turf Cup. Just throw that one out. But the races even before that against Allowance Company, in just against way too tough. Now he gets the drop he needs. It's a tough outside post position, however, and it's 7-2. It's not like you're getting a great price.
Yeah, it's not a great price. It's not a great post position. It is significant class relief, though. They almost never run this horse for a claiming tag, but when they do, he's super tough in races like this, Dan. Maybe that's, obviously it's good that he's getting class relief, but maybe it's also a little bit of a negative there, Dan. They're dropping him all the way down for 16 here.
The 13 and the 14 are also eligible. I have to be honest, I really don't like either one of them. Maybe the 14 Officer Country of the two I would use, but I'm going to focus more on the horses and the body of the race.
I am too. I thought this was the kind of race where I don't care if those horses get in here. The horses in the main body are super tough.
Before we take a look at our top selections, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for the latest DRF videos. Let's take a look at our top picks for the Wednesday race today. You're going with Performing Arts. He's my second pick. And looking back, I probably should have put him on top. I think Ocean's Map might be a more likely winner, but from a value standpoint, there's no comparison. Performing Arts is the play from a value standpoint.
It seems that way. We'll see how the wagering all shakes out. Again, somebody's going to fall through the cracks here. Maybe it will be the 10. Listen, the 8 and the 12. They're very logical in here. I won't be surprised when they run 1-2, but I thought this was a great race to take shots against horses like that. I really like the 10 in here. I love them getting back to turf in this race. The mistake that I made, and I don't have any problem with I have the 1/4. I think that horse could win here too. I probably should have put the 6 in there somewhere because that horse, I think, ran a really good race last time. I should have him in there somewhere.
Fly Knightley, the number 7, also in with a big chance considering his consistency throughout his career. 10, 8, 12, and 1 for Mike, 12, 10, 7, and 6 for me. It's the Wednesday race of the day. Nice wide open edition of a $16,000 claimer at Tampa. Good luck.